Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Mazda MPV. This is a 2007 model, and I'm gonna be removing the rear bumper here. In order to remove the rear bumper, we have to remove the cluster, the rear cluster light there, which is what I've done on this side. And the reason for that is because we need to access this clip here, and so that needs to come out. So if we start removing that, then we move on to the other screws that are around. Be prepared for corrosion and maybe a couple of screws breaking or not, but I had one broken. I'll show you from where, but it's not the end of the world, but yeah, there could be corrosion. So anyway, to remove this cluster, take out these two Phillips screws here. I've already undone those to make things a little bit faster. And then we take out this Phillips here as well. It's a very tiny one. You undo it and it sort of pops out a little bit, and then you can pull this clip out. If it's a pain in the ass, then you just you might have to break it, but it's just a plastic one. So, but then obviously you have to replace it, so that's the only issue. So try not to break it. You could spray a little bit of WD-40 to make things easier. Then you want some kind of plastic prying tool, and we want to sort of push it in here, because this cluster is hooked on two areas here. It's not terrible hooks or whatever, but it's depending on the length that this has been here, it kind of gets stuck. So try to use your plastic prying tool to sort of unlock it a little bit. That way you don't damage your paint. You could always put a bit of tape, masking tape along there if you want to protect your paint a bit more. I'm not doing it because I'm actually going to be painting this, as well as the bumper, as well as the entire car is getting painted basically. So that's one of the reasons I'm actually removing the rear bumper. So we're gonna take these connections out here. Just press on that clip and this should come out, and then undo this one anti-clockwise, and it should also come out. That's just the indicator bulb. There we are. And that is one. Okay, the cables are a bit tangled here. There. So that cable just has to come out of there. Sometimes things are simple, sometimes they are complicated. Right, okay, well, you can see what I'm doing there. I'm just removing this from the guide. Okay. Right, one cluster light, and there's the other one. So then we have access to this pin, which we can use again some plastic prying tool or so to get it out. Now this came out fairly easy, but wait until you do the bottom ones, because they get a lot of mud in the middle, and then they are almost impossible to undo. So with that out of the way, we have another Phillips screw in here. We want to take out. Same on this side. I've already loosened it. Oops. careful when you drop this, they go missing for the rest of your life if you don't see where it went. So clip, take the clip out. Okay, just try to keep that together. Right, so we've done that. Now I remove this little cover from here, but what I've found in there is that the bumper sits. So when we take this bumper out, we have to push it up a little bit. So this is like a bit of a mounting point. So push it up and bring it out. But we don't really need to remove, I don't think we need to remove that cover as such from the other side either. But I did it because I thought there might be a screw in there, but there wasn't. So the other thing is I've already loosened this side, but what we need to do is push this mud guard out of the way a little bit, and there will be an 8mm screw up in there. And when you remove that 8mm, this will pop out. You can pull it out and it will come out. And we'll do that on the other side in 1 second. And then there will be another 8mm screw, which is the one that I broke. It's just going to be there. So that's where it's broken from. So I'm gonna have to replace that with another one. So that's what we have to do now on the other side. 8mm bolt. Those bolts actually, they do have a Phillips head. You could use a Phillips head provided you have no corrosion. So I've got my screwdriver in there, pushing the mudguard out a little bit, and the Phillips screw is just sitting right there. I don't know if we can see it or not, but it's there. And that is what we're going to try to undo next. I think it's undoing. There it is. And well, you saw that popping out because this was already out a little bit, but it literally pulls out like that. And then we have the 8mm down here. Now my 8mm, it's there, but it's going round and round this one here. So basically the clamp in which this is screwed on is just turning. Now I have to find a way of holding it and trying to take that screw out. Right, I tried removing that 8mm screw, but I was not successful. It keeps turning. I think I'm gonna have to remove the bumper and lean it on one side and try to hold the clamp from the top and then undo the screw, but it probably snap like the other one did. Now the other thing about this bumper is that we need to disconnect from down here. As I mentioned, we have not that one, but so we have this clip here, which is quite hard to remove. So I tried my tool here and it came out a little bit, but it is a bit hard because of the, as I mentioned, corrosion and stuff. And that's the only thing, when you use plastic prying tools, they do bend a bit because obviously try to avoid damaging your so I may have to use a metal one on that. But there is one of those, and then there is another one just there. Now what I found with this one is that the clamp, the bit where it's plugged in, is actually so corroded that is broken, so it's not really holding. But it's the same thing. Take the pin out, and obviously you can disconnect your bumper from there. And I don't think there's anything else holding the bumper, but you're gonna have this light, and there's no connection here, so I'm gonna have to see if I can this light. Once I get the bumper out, I'll probably be able to unplug it from somewhere, or actually this is added here in the UK because this is a fog light, or I can remove the Phillips here, and then this will be just dangling down. So I may do that. It's even a little bit broken, probably needs fixing. So anyway, I'm gonna remove the Phillips there and this one, and then we can be ready to remove this bumper. Okay, I had to remove the screw that was holding that light, so that's out of the way now. You may have, depending where you are, obviously. If you have all the lights connected, you'll have to disconnect the bulbs or whatever is connected. It's just a matter of disconnecting clips like we did in the rear lights. I managed to remove the pin that was stuck, so I had to use my metal prying tool there. Now the other thing I discovered is that this actually pulls out. It's a big pin. I mean, it kind of looks like it slides in, but it looks like it actually pulls out, because I tried it and it came out like so. So let's do the same on this side, because we are ready to remove this bumper, but obviously I still have the bumper connected at the bottom, so we are gonna have to pull it, and it should basically unplug like that. And if you have your two hands, you can hold it. In my case, I have one hand, but you can see it's holding down there on that bolt. But that's pretty much your bumper out. So from this point, obviously I will be able to sand it down and obviously get it painted and whatnot. I can see a lot of corrosion here as well. May give all this a wire brush actually, and perhaps paint it with some anti-corrosion stuff. Anyway, the last bit to do is to disconnect or undo that 8mm bolt down there, and I'm gonna have to figure out a way of doing it, which it might just break, to be fair, but it's all that mud that collects in there and corrodes the whole thing. So I'm gonna have to try to hold it and remove it. Probably it might break, but you can see how the bumper comes out. If you have the same issue, just get a pair of mole grips or something, hold that bolt, hold that little clamp, and then which it's where the screw is on, hold it and try to undo the 8mm bolt, and if it breaks, it breaks. It doesn't really matter. Not much you can do. You can use another clamp later and another 8mm screw. So having said that, I hope the video helps. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next video. So thank you for watching.